option Paralysis by the Dillinger escape plan. I think that's how I pronounce that. It's Dillinger. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Anyway, we have another, like, I guess, just like yesterday, sort of hard rock, I guess, album. I mean, this would be a bit more metal, I guess, more than rock. It starts very strong, it starts very, very heavy, which, kind of informs what type of music the album is going to be about. It's very energetic, very chaotic, and, usually... But sometimes I've come across some albums like this, and usually when the music is way too in your face, which is how I describe it, the chorus tends to also be more toned down, more slow, and this is exactly what happens in the first song of the album. And from that point onward, I already realized we're in for an interesting one. It sort of actually reminds me a lot of punk. It's very in your face, who gives a fuck about sounding good as long as we're making noise type thing. We just want to make noise. We're just gonna strum our instruments or strum our guitars and bass and play the drums and just scream or whatever. It's very on that registry that this album feels to me. And as a result, yeah, I kind of understand the name of the album, because yes, I do feel sort of paralyzed with the music. It's so far up your nose, it really doesn't move. It doesn't let you feel like you have control or anything else. Overall, it's a really nice album. I actually did like Widower. I think that's the name of the song, which is actually super groovy. It still maintains that in your face energy type thing, and it does get heavier and heavier as the song sort of goes. At that point, it sounds more like the rest of the album, I guess. However, it does sound a bit more vanilla. It sounds a bit more mainstream, I guess. It has a sort of very sweet, catchy chorus, while the rest of the song, outside of that, it goes very hard, especially towards the end of the song. But yeah, I really liked how groovy it was. I really liked how catchy the chorus was and everything. Probably my favorite song on the album. And then the next song is Room Full of Eyes, which sounds way more old, I guess. It sounded like a lot of the old Metallica comes to mind, for example. Very old thrash bands, old heavy metal bands, which, I don't know, this song just sounded very old. I guess it's very inspired by those bands. So yeah, in that sense, I think that this song actually feels way more outside of what the album does than the other song. But yes, obviously, as the album goes on, the album actually chills out a bit more. It still, there's a lot of energy, but it's way less chaotic. And I would have to take that back, because the very next song on the album, the penultimate song of the album, I think it is, it goes super fucking hard. It's just super chaotic, super fucking in your face. It sort of reminds me again that we're back at the beginning of the album. But then the next song on the album, so essentially 8th song on the album is kind of, the 7th song on the album is Widower, and it's sort of these, what did I call it? Groovy. It's super groovy and whatnot. And then the next song is sort of old metal, old heavy metal. And the next song is In Your Face again. And then the last song of the album is we're back into being a bit more laid back, a bit more slow, not as much in your face. Which honestly, it's an interesting change, and definitely it does. I don't know. I think it's very interesting to sort of go these. Super in your face, not really, super in your face, not really, it's constant change, but I actually did enjoy the change. I think it actually made the album overall better. I think it made it more enjoyable, because as much as I enjoy high energy things, at the end of the day, it's you kind of need to be a bit more careful with them. You kind of you can't just fucking waste every single shot type thing. So I do enjoy, and I find that really funny when I hear albums that start very chaotic, very energetic. Usually they tend to mellow out as the album goes on. It's almost sure that's gonna happen, and this album that happens as well. I think it's just a given. You kind of want to have an explosive opening, and then you want to have a more sweet closing moment, right? So I think that's kind of like what these albums usually do. Overall, I actually didn't enjoy the album. The album cover actually is really fucking cool, although it's super trippy. It was tripping me out, but it's actually super cool, especially when you see like the small thumbnail on the video rather than the full thing. It's actually really cool. What they actually did is like a montage, like a collage of images that form another image. That's super cool. But yeah, overall, yeah, the album was really nice. I liked the energy a lot. I really liked especially the more chaotic moments, but I also liked the melodic moments, although there weren't that many, but yeah, I really vibed with the super energy in your face type thing. It's like, it felt the same as yesterday's Queens of the Stone Age Songs for the Deaf, except instead of feeling so much like rock in a way, it felt way heavier. It was much more in your face, it felt much more punk in a way, right? So yeah, now if I look at my vibe meter, which is just me making up a score on the fucking spot, I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10, sure, let's go with that. It's a 7 out of 10. It's a nice album, it's decent, it's a 7 out of 10.